Hello and welcome back to And the Winner Is. We have taken a few weeks off. We have missed a few award shows, but none of that matters today. We will be doing full coverage of all of that down the road, but right now we are in the thick of it. Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, so 5:30 in LA. The Academy Award nominations will be announced. We are right in the thick of the Oscars race. We today are going to be going through our award nominations. What do we think will be nominated? My name is Jacob Blunden, and you are listening to And the Winner Is. I am joined by my wonderful panel today. Manning Franks, how are you?
I'm good. I am slightly sleep deprived because college is a wonderful thing. But at the same time, I'm ready to hear, always energize and really talk about something that we all love, and that is the Oscars and our need to predict them and overanalyze.
Exactly. Chris Dohmen, I am also joined by. How are you today?
I am doing pretty well, and come on, isn't overanalyzation, and all that other fun crap, overthinking things, isn't that why we're all movie fans?
Exactly. Well, speaking of overanalyzing and predicting and reading way too much into award bodies that haven't actually given out their awards yet, we are going to, for the next, let's just say probably 3 hours or probably forever in this show. This show is going to go forever. We are going to be predicting and dissecting and assuming a lot about the 24 categories at the 90th Academy Awards. The nominations will be released this Tuesday, so tomorrow, actually, at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's going to be very, very interesting. We cannot wait. I might be doing a live Facebook stream. Maybe I will let you know in the Facebook group. So if you haven't gone to Take Three Productions Facebook group, make sure you go over to there, and you might see me looking like an idiot going, why the hell did you not nominate that movie? But before we get to those, how about we just start where the Oscars normally ends? We will start with the big one, the Best Picture. Chris, I'm going to start with you. How many films do you have being nominated for Best Picture? And what are your locks, your most likely, and you're on the cusp? And then give me a for your consideration.
So that's how we have to set it up. Okay, because I misheard you then. Because I have locks, I have on the cusp, and I have outside chances, and I do have a.
All right, do it like that then. Do it like that.
I'll say, yeah, we all did our list differently. So hey, you know what? Why not? These are my three locks for Best Picture. One is The Shape of Water, which I can safely say will be the La La Land of 2017. Lady Bird is my next lock, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which I think actually might have a pretty decent shot at actually winning, is my final lock. My next four are on the cusp, which are Get Out, Dunkirk, Call Me by Your Name, and The Big Sick, because that's been getting a lot of buzz coming up lately, and it's been talked about kind of pretty much since it came out. Like, it dipped for a little bit, but then come back into Oscar season, it joined the conversation once again. And I do have three official outside chances, but I do have one backup. And those are I, Tonya, The Post, and The Darkest Hour, and Molly's Game. Now, I do have a very selfish for your consideration. It's a very selfish for your consideration, and I have no shame in saying it. Logan. And Jacob, I know you don't like the terminology of where people have gone with it, but I think with it being one of the best comic book movies of all time, with it just being a phenomenal film overall, I'm saddened to know that it won't get a nomination, but I think it should.
Yeah, I'm definitely not there with you on Logan, but I think Logan is an incredible film. I just think And if the Oscars were given in June, it absolutely would have deserved to be nominated. November and December this year really, really kicked Logan's ass and just kicked it out of the contention and consideration. Although June did that with Wonder Woman as well. The second Wonder Woman came out, I think that was it for Logan, and Logan wasn't being nominated at all. I'm just going to go through real quick through mine. I have very much the same list as Dohmen. There's a few changes that I have, but my 3 locks, I went with, I've only got the 7 being nominated. I don't think there will be more than 7 being nominated for Best Picture this year. I will be, there could be an 8th, but 7 for me sounds like it's probably the most likely number. And I've got my locks are Lady Bird, 3 Billboards, and The Shape of Water. It's funny, we went into this season, there wasn't really the front runner, and there wasn't really that 2-horse race or 3-horse race that we normally get when we go into an Oscar season. The season has really proven that these 3 have now become your 3-horse race. I don't see anything else beating these 3. However, I don't see which of these 3 will win yet. Normally, we have that one film that is guaranteed the win. It's looking like it could be Shape of Water, but are the Academy really going to give Best Picture to an award to a film about a woman, a love story between a woman and a fish? Like I know it's more than that. I know it's more than that, but that will be the joke that will come. So that those are my locks. I can't tell you what's going to win, but my most likely, I've got Get Out, Dunkirk, and surprisingly, I've got The Post. I think look, Spielberg, Meryl, and Tom Hanks all together in one film. I don't see how this doesn't get nominated for Best Picture, and it really helps that it is an absolutely sensational, timely, and incredible film. On the cusp, I've got Call Me By Your Name, and I also have The Big Sick. I think The Big Sick does get the nomination. I think that gets the... I think The Big Sick gets that romantic comedy nomination that, oh, this was a nice, sweet film that gets nominated. But my last one, for your consideration, is one that I was shocked Dohmen didn't pick instead, which is Wind River. It's sad because if any other year Wind River gets nominated for Best Picture, I think that it
possibly wins.
Yeah, any other year it does, but unfortunately it had a creep as a distributor, and this is what happens, unfortunately. And I think Wind River is going to be the biggest casualty this year of the Harvey Weinstein scenario in terms of the Oscars.
Sadly,
and the
yeah.
I think Wind River is going to be the biggest casualty when it comes to the Oscars this year from the Harvey Weinstein scandal. So, Manning, what have you got for your list?
I feel like this is a recurring theme, whereas we're starting to chisel away at how at the final, as we're entering the final stretch. My locks are Lady Bird, Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. It's kind of like, okay, we all have those 3. Those are the 3 that are kind of just like cementing themselves as the frontrunners. Lady Bird getting all those critics wins, Shape of Water taking critics, 3 Billboards taking Golden Globes. We'll see what SAG goes and PGA as we continue, because we're recording before that, so we won't know what they pick just yet. But right now, those are the 3 frontrunners, and those are the locks that I have. But in right below that, we also have, for me, Get Out, Dunkirk, and I, Tonya. Get Out has just gone. I have been a naysayer prior. You've heard me saying they're not going to do a horror-esque comedy. Why would they ever do that? Here I am eating my words, and if this was a video podcast, you would see me eating my shoe or foot. No, wait, no, foot and mouth. That's it. Okay, yeah. Apparently, I can't think. I'm tired, guys. I apologize. But anyway, and I, Tonya has gotten a really big resurgence at the second half of the season. A big wind has just come under their sails, and then Dunkirk, I believe, has the big clout of being Nolan's prestige film, and also being really good. And it just has not left the conversation at all since it came out in June, that I think it's going to remain in the conversation until the very end. And then, as we have, like, on the cusp for me, which is going to be I think we're only going to get 8. 7 is a possibility, but we have not had 7 just yet. I think we're going to get 8, but I could be wrong. And right now we have Call Me By Your Name, which BAFTA helped tremendously, and Darkest Hour, which BAFTA also helped tremendously. Because those two were currently treading water outside of Call Me By Your Name for the critics groups, but it was not doing a whole lot well with the guilds up until that point. And right outside looking in, we'll have Post and Florida Project, which could come back in a big way. But the one for your consideration that I really want to do is you stole Wind River, so instead, what I want to say is Blade Runner 2049, a movie that I've continually gone back to, and a movie that will be mentioned in this podcast continually, because it's going to get a lot of tech mentions, but alas, I don't think it's going to get that picture nom, and I really wish it got more consideration, because it is a movie that I think surpasses the original, and Denis Villeneuve created a masterwork of the modern era.
Absolutely, and I do kind of echo your sentiments. I was going up between Wind River and Blade Runner, and I just thought, no, I'm going to give my 4-year consideration to Wind River, because I think Wind River is going to literally walk away from the Oscars with 0 nominations, and I think that is just absolutely a travesty and just hurtful. Whereas I think Blade Runner might end up walking away with several wins. But just all for technicals. I think Blade Runner could very well be this year's Mad Max Fury Road, where it sweeps the technical awards. But it could be very interesting. Again, Shape of Water is showing that it could end up being a real contender in this way. But let's move on to, I consider this the second most important award. Apparently the Academy considers it the 4th most important, but this is Best Director. Best Director, I think there is only one lot guaranteed no matter what this person is getting nominated, and that is Del Toro.
Preach.
There's no one else at the moment who is looking as though I would literally bet anything on guaranteeing them a nomination. My most likely then goes to Christopher Nolan and Greta Gerwig. I would be shocked if neither of these are nominated, just because Nolan has been campaigning since July when Dunkirk came out, and Greta Gerwig, you have a film that could possibly win Best Picture by a female director this year, and you don't nominate the female director. I think the Academy cannot risk it. I think she deserves it more than anything, and I think that there will just be way too much controversy surrounding that you simply cannot do that. On the cusp, I've got Martin McDowell and Jordan Peele. I think Jordan Peele deserves this nomination. Absolutely. I have been campaigning him from the start, saying I want Jordan Peele to get nominated for this. He was my risky bet when I did back in September, when I did my predictions back in September, and he was my risk. I do think it's going to pay off for me, and I think he will be nominated. The ones that I'm shocked that I'm not going to be able to put in here is Denis Villeneuve or Steven Spielberg for The Post, and Dennis for Blade Runner 2049, obviously. But they're not my Denny. Sorry, Denny. But obviously, but they're not my 4-year consideration, because I think there is a chance. My 4-year consideration, the one that I wish that people were taking more seriously, is Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman. Now, I know, look, I have been one of the more vocal attackers of the third act of Wonder Woman. I think the third act is a train wreck, and I think it really stops Wonder Woman from being one of the best comic book films ever made. However, what she is able to do with those first 2 acts of that film is damn near perfection. And I think Patty Jenkins, especially this year of all years, she should have been. I would love to see if she gets nominated. I don't think it will happen. I think Greta Gerwig has kind of it's sad that we are talking about this in the terms of Greta Gerwig stole the female nomination this year, where it's sad that that's the way that the Academy are most likely going to look at it. But I think Lady Bird and Greta Gerwig have really just taken all the wind out of Wonder Woman, and I don't see Wonder Woman walking away with very many nominations. Manning, where are you going?
See, the 5 I have reluctantly, because I don't like doing this. It's the DGA 5. and the DGA rarely lines up with the Oscars. There was always that one outlier, but the one you have for lock, I think all of us safely have as a lock, is Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water, which after he has been sweeping. If you want to talk about a sweep, he's been sweeping all the so far the bigger awards so far with The Shape of Water. And if you've seen his speeches, I'm not surprised whatsoever. This man deserves it. It's like, you know what? You've done Pan's Labyrinth, fantastic. Hellboy, cool, and then some other ones, but there was something about the man himself. You just want to root for him because he is a film fan, and I'm going to root for him to the very end. But yeah, most likely, I also have Greta Gerwig. BAFTA, they're like, you know what? We're not going to nominate a female, and I'm afraid the Oscars might do that, but I feel like there would be too much backlash. And considering her film was also really good, there is no reason for them to not nominate her, in my opinion. And then putting foot back into mouth, we have Jordan Peele getting a Best Director nom is also most likely for me. Because, you know, the movie's also amazing, and I've proven yet again that he deserves that, and that the Academy is gravitating toward Get Out. And of course, we have also another most likely, because I think this director lineup is mostly what you're going to be seeing at the Oscars. It's Martin McDonagh for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. If that movie, which I have currently right now, could be taking the Oscar, I think he's going to make it. But the person that I feel like is the most he's the weakest right now, it's Chris Nolan's Dunkirk. And the reason I say that is because the man has gotten DGA, he's gotten BAFTA, but every time that's happened, be it for Memento, be it for Inception, be it for whatever he's done, he has always missed the Oscar. He's gotten everything he needed, and it's always just happened. And I feel like I'm hoping I'm wrong, because this man deserves an Oscar nomination. He's going to be outside looking in. I don't know why I have that feeling, but considering the history, I'm scared. But for your consideration that I want to do, it's Dee Reese and Mudbound. I feel like Dee Reese 100% deserves to be there along with the rest of the Best Director nominations. What she did with Mudbound, to me, is one of the best directorial achievements of the year. What she managed to make you feel in that place, in the Mississippi Delta, make you feel for these two separate families, is phenomenal. And I wish it didn't have the Netflix stigma surrounding it, but I feel like that is what's going to drag it, dare I say it, into the mud.
I would be so curious to see where the discussion about Mudbound would be had it not been released on Netflix. If it was a theater release, if it was one of these Lady Birds or Shape of Water type releases, I would be so curious to see where the discussion around Mudbound is, because I do believe Mudbound would be up there, because it ticks all the boxes, and all the boxes. Yeah, literally, an African American female director this year made one of the best movies of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people on Tuesday might call that out and go, how come Greta Gerwig got it and not Dee Reese? I don't think I think that comes down to the Netflix model.
That would also be unfair if people say that, because
I think it would be as well.
They're two very separate films.
I do just want to, real quick before I go back over to Chris, just address the fact that is it sad that we are talking about a film like if Greta Gerwig, if Mudbound wasn't, sorry, if Lady Bird wasn't a film that we all considered an absolute lock for Best Picture, then I would be, okay, maybe Greta Gerwig possibly wouldn't be nominated. But Lady Bird is an absolute, we are all agreeing it is an absolute lock for Best Picture. But we're all uncertain that Greta Gerwig will be nominated. And I just think that's a sad reflection of where we are at the moment with the Academy. But Chris, where are you at the moment?
So for locks, I actually have 2. I have Del Toro and I have Martin McDonagh, because once again, people are not stopping talking about him. And now with the way that I have my setup, this is this is my 5, and what I honestly do think they are going to be, it's just a matter of, in terms of likeliness, like the locks, guarantee. My next one would my next two are Gregory and Jordan Peele, and I'm safely betting on them, but if they're not, it will be a little bit of a surprise, and of course, it would be a crap show if if neither of them got in. But my fifth one, who's kind of an outside chance, is actually Luca Guadagnino for Call Me by Your Name. Even though that is more of a performance film, he has also been getting a lot of nominations, and people are talking about him a lot. So there is a very strong chance, and my for your consideration is Denis Villeneuve. He made the best science fiction film of the year, and
Absolutely.
he made what I will definitely argue is one of the best science fiction films of all time now. Potentially. Give it about 5 years, and I'm pretty sure it'll make that conversation.
I just
want
want
of course the Academy is going to screw him out of
see a nomination.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't consider that a screwing him out at the moment, just because I look at my five. I don't know who I would replace him with, and that to me is like, who do you drop? I mean, maybe Nolan. Okay, I can understand the argument for other people. Me, I wouldn't drop Nolan because Dunkirk was my favorite film last year. I thought Dunkirk was what Nolan did with Dunkirk was absolutely insane. But like, what? I cannot justify. I'm looking at this list. Like, I couldn't say, does Blade Runner deserve to be in there over Get Out? No. Does it deserve to be in there over Ladybird? No. Does it deserve? Was the directing in Blade Runner better than the directing in Shape of Water? No. Like, maybe Three Billboards, and I maybe, but director this year is a tough category. Like, it's amazing that at the start of the year, we would like. I just find it amazing that in September of this year, we were literally going, I don't know what the hell to nominate because there has just been nothing but shit all year. And now we have just here, and it's like, we are stacked. This year was very November, December heavy. Like, we've had a few, like,
this back half has been a miracle.
Oh, man, because it was rough. It was rough at the start of the year, but let's move on to.
It's kind of sad when the start of the year. The only truly great film is where an old guy is ripping apart people with his bare hands.
Well, Get Out was at the start of the year, and I consider that a truly great film. But yeah,
okay, we had two great films.
That's two.
That's
all right. Let's move on to Best Actor. Chris, I'll get you to start with this one.
Okay. So I have two locks. Go figure. And it's the two that everybody from freaking Richard Roper to Christian Harloff are probably talking about. And that is Gary Oldman and Timothée Chalamet. And either one of them, again, come on. Sure. Oldman, it seemed like he lost a little momentum, but suddenly there's a new groundswell. It just came right the hell out of nowhere. So, yeah, those are the lock. Then my next two are Daniel Day-Lewis and Daniel Kaluuya, because it's DDL. He could just walk on screen for 2 seconds and sneeze, and the Academy would give him an award. Daniel Kaluuya, like, his portrayal of Chris in Get Out is landing with a lot of people. It's really showing what a lot of, like, it's showing a very political and a very real fear amongst a lot of people outside of the film community, and it's showing, and there's reason he's been nominated for like 10 different things already. And then my fifth one, this is an outside chance, and it's a little controversial for not very well-founded reasons, but James Franco, because I see him on screen and I don't see James Franco. I see Tommy Wiseau, a man who was very much his own cartoon character, but the fact that Franco played it as well as he did, it deserves at least a nomination. Not necessarily the win, like I was sort of singing the praises of after I first saw Disaster Artist, but good God, that man should at least get the nomination. Plus, he has gotten some recognition for it, so to me, it just makes sense to at least still keep him as part of the conversation. And my for your consideration, yet another casualty of Weinstein. Wind River was Jeremy Renner's best performance ever, hands down. And the fact that he's not going to be able to get the recognition for it is abysmal. It's appalling. But what can you do? And I just hope to God that Renner can get another role of that level sometime in the near future, so that way we can correct the wrong that was Mr. Weinstein.
Yeah, I do like want to just address this, and I'm not saying at all, Chris, that this is where you were coming from, and this is all more from where it sounded like I was coming from earlier. If Wind River is the casualty of getting Weinstein out of the Hollywood industry, I'm completely okay with that. It just sucks. Like it just sucks that Wind River was the casualty.
Exactly.
But if that is,
I'm just upset about it. But
like if that's the cost of getting, like, this is going to sound awful for three white guys talking about this, but if that's the cost to getting Weinstein out of Hollywood industry, that it's like, if that's the biggest payment we have to pay for the suffering that these women went through for decades,
it's worth it.
Exactly. Like, sorry, Wind River, I'm picking that over you a million times. Like, it's not even a question. That's so, yeah, we sit here and go, it sucks that Wind River.
To be fair, it could have been any film. It could have been
exactly.
Get Out. It could have been Logan. It could have been Star Wars. But
exactly.
It just happened to come on Wind River.
Exactly. And so when we say, it sucks that Wind River's the casualty of Weinstein, we're not meaning that it sucks that no one's going to recognize this. I wish people would recognize this. I wish, that this wasn't the case. It's like, well, we understand why. It's just, it's just, this is such an incredible film. I wish that we just simply wish that, see it and watch it, and the Academy would be able to watch it without the Weinstein problem. And that's, and it is a Weinstein problem, and it is a, hey, the Academy, you're about to give the Oscar to producers who, you don't want to give it to. But Manning, where are you on Best Actor?
The side note, thankfully, the Weinsteins are no longer producers. Taylor Sheridan now has full rights to it, so he is now the sole producer. They finally got it back, so just a FYI for everybody. Too late now, but whenever you get it on DVD and Blu-ray, you'll now have that. But my one lock that I do have, I only have one lock because I feel like there are currently 4 positions and 5 people fighting for those 4 positions. But the one lock I have is also my favorite performance of the year, and that's Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour. The man who simply transforms, and I totally see him taking it. This is going to be a lock, unless something crazy happens. SAG, we'll see. And then I have most likely, we'll have the Daniel Day-Lewis, The Phantom Thread. And the reason I don't think he's a full-on lock is because the movie itself hasn't been doing amazing as much as you would think it is, considering it is PTA. But also we have Timothée Chalamet, Call Me By Your Name, who's also most likely. And for the on the cusp right now, this last little spot that is on the cusp, I have Denzel Washington and Rowan J. Israel Esquire, because this man has gotten a Golden Globe and he's also gotten a SAG. That is some considerable support. And considering he is Denzel Washington, and he got nominated for Flight, a movie that really had no other backing outside of adapted screenplay. This, I feel like you got to watch out for Denzel Washington as well. He had sneak in. And then 5th spot, I have James Franco for The Disaster Artist, because allegations aside, the nominations were already on the downsend before those came out. So whatever that is, I think he's going to get nominated. However, Daniel Kaluuya is right there nipping at his heels, and I feel like you could interchange any of those three, and you could have your 5. This is just kind of like me shooting in the dark. But of course, for my consideration, what I want people to really just to kind of take into consideration is, I swear this is the last time I'm going to mention this movie, and that's Ryan Gosling in Blade Runner 2049. The way he manages to just hone in on the screen is phenomenal. The way he uses few words and makes you believe. This is when Ryan Gosling really thrives, is when he uses minimal dialogue, because he has a great, I hate using the word acting face, but he makes you believe. There's something about his eyes, something about his face that just feels like, there's a sadness about his character of Kay. It's just so well done and so well executed that I wish more people were talking about it. But you know what? All these other people ahead of him are just as good to talk about, so I make no qualms.
Yeah, I completely agree with you where you're saying that. I don't think Denzel is being nominated. You brought up Flight. The difference between Roman J. Israel Esquire is that Flight, while not getting the greatest reviews, was still getting positive reviews. It was still get people, the people who did give it positive reviews adored it. Whereas in Roman J. Israel Esquire isn't really getting good reviews at all.
Yeah, but the man's gotten everything that he has needed so far, except BAFTA, which he missed for Fences for BAFTA. So something to not be working with.
There is, however, there could also be we fucked up last year. We probably should have given it to you. We fucked up. Here's at least another nomination. And that could possibly be the thing. My locks this year are Gary Oldman. I have for The Darkest Hour. I really do think that he is the only lock. The critics didn't go with him, but every other awards body so far has been going with him, and he's just been gaining momentum, and I don't think you can stop that. The biggest upset for him at the moment is possibly Timothée Chalamet. I finally was able to say that correctly. It's possible that he can be the upset for Call Me By Your Name. Now, the Academy are known. We could have a repeat of 2014, the younger up-and-coming actor beating out the old dog in Eddie Redmayne beating Michael Keaton for Best Actor. We could possibly see that again. I doubt it will happen, but it's possible, especially considering Call Me By Your Name isn't a very showy performance, whereas in Eddie Redmayne had probably the more showier performance in 2014, which is why he was able to get that win over Keaton. Oldman's got the showy performance, so I do think Oldman is still your favorite front runner. He is the favorite to win this one, but I'm not as confident as I used to be. Right now, I've also got in most likely Daniel Day-Lewis. I think for Phantom Thread, it's his last ever performance. I don't think he's going anywhere near winning this thing, but I do think he is definitely he's most likely to get nominated. My on the cusp, I've got Daniel Kaluuya. I do think he deserves it, and I do think he will. My last one, however, is Tom Hanks for The Post. Tom Hanks has not been nominated since 2000 in Castaway. He always just misses out. Like he has given these fantastic performances in his career, and he always seems to just miss out. So I know that the controversy started after the nominations were locked in, but I think maybe Tom Hanks gets in above James Franco, especially considering how I do think there is a chance, but again, I could be completely wrong on missing out on this. If the nominations were not completely locked in before the controversy came out, there is a chance he's not nominated, but we will see. But lastly, my for your consideration is Jeremy Renner again for Wind River. Jeremy Renner is absolutely sensational in that film. It is his best performance I've ever seen him give. The scene where he is talking about his daughter nearly broke me. it is an absolutely sensational and beautiful performance by him, and I adored that film, but he is the reason that that film is so good. So let's move on to Best Actress. Manning, I'm going to start with you.
Why, thank you, sir. But what I have so far for Best Actress, let's just give a hand with how amazing Best Actress is this year specifically.
Oh,
it's phenomenal. Like, it kind of like blows like Best Actor out of the water with just the amount of the sheer quantity and quality that we have. Like, don't get me wrong, Best Actor has a lot of great quality, but Best Actress has quantity and quality. Because listen, there are currently 4 that I have that are basically not locks, or at least most likely. But that 5th spot, you have people fighting that out. There are so many good performances. But what I have for my locks that I have right now, even though there's a strange world where I can see almost anyone missing, but the 3 locks that I have right now are Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird, and Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards. I would be very surprised if they miss, considering the love and support that have been getting. And for my most likely that I have is Sally Hawkins, Shape of Water. The reason she's not a lock for me personally is because I feel like we are due for a shock. There's going to be some shocking thing, and I'm putting my bets on Sally Hawkins for some strange reason. I don't know why. And then, of course, we have, on the cusp, Meryl Streep in The Post, because it's hard to bet against Meryl Streep. Now, yes, she hasn't gotten really anything outside of maybe the Globe nomination and critics, but at the same time, this is Meryl Streep. They love her. They will nominate her for anything. She's definitely not winning it, but the fact that she's going to be nominated is something that's probably going to happen. But one thing that I also want to, for your consideration, I want people to just look out for. It's Jessica Chastain in Molly's Game, which she does have a chance, but right now I feel like she's the lower tier in the sense of Streep, and then Judi Dench just for on clout alone. But Jessica Chastain, I believe, is someone who just transforms herself into almost any role she can get into. And Molly's Game specifically, we'll get into, is fantastic work by Sorkin. The way she just destroys that dialogue and the way she embodies his character, I feel like is always fantastic and just needs to be seen a bit more. But I think Molly's Game came out just a bit too late for people to fully grasp it.
See, yeah, this is where I disagree with you. My 3 locks are Frances McDormand, Sally Hawkins, and Saoirse Ronan. I will be absolutely gobsmacked shocked if one of those is not nominated. I think those 3 films survive on their performance, on these 3 actresses' performances. You get rid of any one of them, the film just doesn't work. And I will be shocked if they, especially considering those 3 films are our front runners. They're the 3 front runners at the moment, and they're the 3 that are going to, one of those 3 is most likely going to win Best Picture. I will be shocked if.
Oh, no, I agree. I just feel like we're in the mood for something shocking. I don't know why, but I feel like this is getting too cookie cutter. I just think somehow that's what it is. You're probably right.
This is where I become into my shock. Margot Robbie is my most likely. I do think that will happen, but my shock is Meryl Streep misses out. I think on the Jessica Chastain is on the cusp. I think Jessica Chastain gets nominated. I do think that happens. And it sucks because I think Meryl Streep in The Post is, I don't want to throw this around really lightly. I know the gravity of the statement I am about to say. I think Meryl Streep in The Post is, if not number 1, at least in the top 3 of the best performances Meryl Streep has ever given.
Whoa.
I think she is absolutely sensational in The Post. Without her performance in The Post, that movie doesn't work. And she's my 4-year consideration. The fact that I have Meryl Streep as a 4-year consideration, I think, proves it. And I think that proves just how strong this category is this year. That the Oscars are most likely not going to nominate Meryl Streep is just mind-boggling and insane. And it's funny that it's for this role, which I think is her best performance that she has ever given. One of the best performances.
If that happens, then I think it's safe to say if she's not nominated for this, I think the idea of Meryl getting nominated for everything is going to be dead.
Yeah, because if it's just, or I think it's more of an indication of just how strong the performances this year
Yeah.
are, because like Meryl Streep in The Post, she does something with this character that is just absolutely incredible, and I just fell in love with. And I was mesmerized every time she was on screen. She has her weaknesses. She shows how that, like, I remember going in expecting to see this strong, dominant woman who was, I am the leader of the Washington Post. I own the Washington Post. I am the head of it. And she doesn't. She plays it as a woman who is unsure of herself. And I loved the way she played it, and I thought it was incredibly well done. And I think this is one of Meryl's best performances. Everyone else absolutely deserves. Like, I'm not taking anything away from the people who will be nominated. I still haven't seen I, Tonya or Molly's Game. I'm seeing those this week, thank God. But I do believe that these 5 is the one, and Meryl will miss out. Chris, how am I wrong?
Well, I have Streep as an outside chance at best.
Ooh.
Because, like, okay, and when I say that, I mean, like, she is the last person that I am seeing add to this list, because my 3 locks are Hawkins, Ronan, and McDormand. Like, those are your 3. And your winner is pretty much guaranteed to be one of those 3. The only other person that I could really think of to add is Margot Robbie, because, well, I mean, come on, it's only her best performance she's ever given, in my opinion. There is one performance that I really sincerely wish could have snuck in there, and that is Diane Kruger for the film In the Fade, which the problem is that movie just wasn't, like, the overall film wasn't good enough to justify putting her in there, which is why I kept Denzel off of my actor list, just because, sadly, again, the film itself didn't justify putting him in there, even though both of those actors, Denzel and Diane Kruger, both give powerhouse performances in their respective films, but it just wasn't enough, and sadly no one was talking about her. But after I saw that movie, I'm like, oh God, it's one that I really wish we get nominated, and it just ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to Best Supporting Actor. This is the award that goes to, the loved performance of that year, and I think the generally Best Supporting Actor or Actress is everyone's favorite performance of the year. And this is so I'm just gonna start off here. My locks for this one, I've got 3 locks, but at the moment, and it's just because of how much I'm hearing about it, this is the one that I don't really have it on the cusp. I think these are the 5. I doubt that it's going to change. It possibly could, but I think these are your 5, and that is Willem Dafoe is an absolute lock, and Sam Rockwell are your 2 absolute locks. My 3 most likelies are Richard Jenkins, Woody Harrelson, and Christopher Plummer. I will. As Manny had to eat a shoe for Get Out, I will gladly eat this shoe for all the money in the world. Christopher Plummer is absolutely fantastic.
Let's make eating a shoe a thing.
He is. He is insanely good for a film he recorded in 2 weeks. Like, it is. I could not believe how I was mesmerized every time he was on screen. I was just in utter, like, I cannot. It's amazing to think I have seen a trailer of another actor playing that role in that movie, and I can't see anyone else playing the role that Christopher Plummer played.
I know, it's mind-boggling.
It's just weird. Like, I cannot imagine how Kevin Spacey would have played that role. Like, I can't imagine it. It just,
you dare to say his name.
I dare to say his name. Well, we've said Weinstein's. I mean,
you shut up. Right.
I can't imagine how Kevin Spacey would have played that role. Like, because Christopher Plummer is just so like just keyed into this character, and it's just absolutely incredible. I think he should have been from day one. I would be so interested to have known if Christopher Plummer was always this character from day one, and they were able to do their run like they would have in September and started the campaign then. I think Christopher Plummer wins a second Academy Award. I mean, look, Willem Dafoe, from by all accounts, and everything we've heard, especially from a certain member of Take Three, Willem Dafoe is absolutely incredible in the Florida Project. And the fact that he hasn't won before, I think, is also going to be a big, he hasn't won before. We're going to give that to him. But also same with Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell is a great character actor that's I think this would be his first nomination, actually, but he is, I think, a guaranteed lock. But for your consideration, the one who I would love to see, and I'm going to steal absolutely everyone else's picks that everyone else is thinking about, and that is Patrick Stewart from Logan. I might not have thought Logan was the greatest of films, but holy crap, Patrick Stewart was incredible in that film. And to me, he that would just be the ultimate payoff and just incredible. Like, all right, here is this is the Logan nomination, is if Patrick Stewart gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor. But Chris, I'm going to go back to you.
Apology accepted, Jacob Blunden. Because, who called it? Yeah. My two locks for supporting actor are, of course, Sam Rockwell and Willem Dafoe, who, for the longest time I was convinced it was going to be Dafoe who takes it, but I don't know at this point. I don't know at this point. And then my on the cusp are Richard Jenkins and Christopher Plummer. And yes, in the case of Richard Jenkins, I don't know who you would take out to put in for him if he somehow didn't get in, but sure. And then my outside chance is Armie Hammer, who, again, I'm saying I think he will get the nomination, but you could probably switch him out with Michael Stuhlbarg or possibly Michael Shannon for The Shape of Water. And yes, the thing is, the problem is, my four-year consideration is a tie. Because yes, Patrick Stewart is one of them, but this wasn't the only great performance given by an actor who's played a role for a very long time that is no longer playing it as of last year. And of course, the other half of that is Mark Hamill. Now, granted, yes, okay, I'm not turning this into Knights of the podcast, but I'm just saying that we're not going to be seeing Luke Skywalker alive as played by Mark Hamill. I'm sure he might show up as a Force Ghost in Episode 9, yada, yada, yada. But what? Oh, my God. Hamill did in that movie. Ooh. But yes, Patrick Stewart, it kills me that neither of them will get nominated. It kills me. Just come on, Academy. Throw this genre films a bone.
Hamill, I would love to have seen Hamill get nominated for it. I doubt it this year. I think that the competition is a little too stiff. Michael Stuhlbarg, his biggest problem is he's in 3 of the best movies of the year, and he is wonderful in 3 of them. So I think he is going to have the big problem of splitting votes. A lot of people are going to nominate him for Call Me by Your Name. A lot of people are going to nominate him for The Shape of Water. Probably no one's going to nominate him for The Post, but I think he's going to get a lot of split votes, and because of that, he is going to miss out. And I think that's the problem. Yeah, I think he's going to miss out.
Well, sure, but I do find it funny that you say that, but you would actually probably want to flip those last 2 around, because out of the 3 films he was in this year, The Shape of Water is the one that he was nominated for the least amount of times, and Call Me by Your Name and The Post are actually pretty even on the votes. And hell, a couple of the awards he was nominated for, which were just local film critics awards like DC, San Fran, and whatnot, he was nominated both times. So it's
He's in like 2 minutes in the post though. He's literally got 2 scenes in the movie. Whatever.
Yeah, but he got nominated a crap ton of times, and he actually won 2 of those awards for Detroit and San Francisco, the Film Critics Society. So,
Manning,
saying.
It's possible. Manning, where are you going with this?
Basically, it's yeah. We can move on because this is basically Jacob's 5 or my 5. Literally, the 2 locks, and then most likely because listen, this is what this race is shaping up to be, and I think each one of them deserve it. Wasn't as high on 3 billboards, but the performances are nothing that I can sneeze at because they're all amazing. Specifically Rockwell, who to me steals the show. But yeah, that's my 5. But my for your consideration, just for clarity's sake, it's Sam Rockwell, William Dafoe, Richard Jenkins, Christopher Plummer, and then Woody Harrelson. But my for your consideration is actually Jason Mitchell in Mudbound. The last time I'm going to say Mudbound, guys, I promise. This is the last time. I only said it twice, so this is the last time. But in Mudbound, just because of how amazing Jason Mitchell was. Because, he was Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton, which he was very good in that. But he did something completely different than what we saw in that. And what he managed to do was to create this subdued yet internally angry character who just has so much... his life was back in a whole other world when he went back to the Mississippi Delta, and seeing how he tries to transition is just phenomenal. So watch Mudbound, see Jason Mitchell, just be amazed, and then cry at the end. If you want to cry, you don't have to cry, but I cried. So, anyway, yeah, moving on.
All right, let's move on to Best Supporting Actress. I just realized we all have the exact same list. So, Manning, start it off. Start off.
Oh, wow. Cool. My number 1 is for who I think, actually my 2 who are laughing, Lady Bird and Allison Janney and Tanya. These are 2 people that have shown up in literally everything, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. However, what I think also is my most likely, with 2 most likely, are going to be Octavia Spencer in The Shape of Water, who has gotten, again, almost everything needed. And then finally Holly Hunter in The Big Sick, who has also gotten almost everything she's needed. And finally, on the cusp, because I believe Mudbound's in danger of being, because it's Netflix and all that jazz, it's Mary J. Blige in Mudbound, who's doing, again, phenomenal. And I don't really have a for your consideration for this one. Oh, no, duh. I'm thinking of a big one. Or I'm missing a big one. But Allison Williams in Get Out. She managed to terrify me. She has such, the way that there's a specific scene in let's say Mudbound again. Wow. Get Out, where she is eating Fruit Loops. She's eating Fruit Loops, and then I won't spoil anything, but that scene in particular, for those who have seen it, know that scene, and the way she does that, and then later you'll see her grab a gun. The way she transitions between that to create this character that seems so sweet and innocent into this terrifying force of nature is phenomenal. I did not know she could do that, and color me surprised.
Yeah. I'm just going to go, I've got the exact same 5. However, I do have just to re-clarify, my locks are Allison Janney and Laurie Metcalf. I think those are the 2 front runners. I can't pick who's going to win yet. It's going to be a very interesting battle. I think Allison Janney gets it based on just the adoration of Allison Janney. I think she is one of the most underrated actresses working in Hollywood today. She does not get anywhere near the love she deserves. So I do think she might pull it through. My most likely, I've got Octavia Spencer for Shape of Water and Holly Hunter for The Big Sick. My last one is Mary J. Blige for Mudbound. If I had to swap her out, it would be for Haddish in Girls Trip. I do think there is a chance that this is Best Supporting Actress is very often the award that they give the funniest performance of the year, and we have seen that happen with I am completely blanking on her name from Bridesmaids.
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy. How did I blank on Melissa McCarthy? Like,
it's okay.
But yeah, so Melissa
we
McCarthy,
all have moments.
Yeah, we saw that happen with Melissa McCarthy. Like, no one expected that she would be nominated. But yeah, it happened, and it was well deserved. So I think there is a chance she will. I don't think it will happen, but there is a small chance. For your consideration, it is a completely selfish one. It is a completely just absolutely makes no sense. It is never going to happen. It won't happen. This is my selfish one. I do like Carrie Fisher in Last Jedi is incredible. She doesn't give the best. She doesn't give like the greatest performance ever. She doesn't even like. It's not, if they nominated her over Octavia Spencer or over Holly Hunter or anyone else, I'd probably be pissed. But I do think like it's just one of those performances where I'm like, Carrie Fisher, she was really, really great as her final performance. And like the scene alone where her and Mark Hamill are together and she just and she says, I changed my hair, just makes me bawl my eyes out every time I see it. So it's just, it makes no sense. And I'll probably actually be annoyed if she gets nominated over any of these other people, but that's my for your consideration. Chris?
Yeah, okay. I say the same thing about a month and a half ago. I'm a laughing stock. You say
yeah, I know. Okay, and I'm not saying you're a laughing stock at the. You said that I will be pissed if she's not nominated. I'll be pissed if she's nominated. I'm just saying that. Hey,
no, okay. Well,
let's just talk about it.
To be fair, I also did say that. I also did say there's no way in hell that was going to happen, and that's why I was pissed.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I said that before Last Jedi had even come out, so I didn't even know what her role was. Now, if she had delivered the level of performance that one of these other 5 ladies did and didn't get nominated, mad.
Yeah, then we're getting pissed. Then we're getting pissed.
Then we get pissed. Right. But my 2 locks are Allison Janney and Laurie Metcalf. I'm pretty sure this is Metcalf's to lose, if I'm being honest. My on the cusp, my next 2 are Octavia Spencer, Mary J. Blige. You're welcome, Manning. And my rounding out the mount is Holly Hunter for The Big Sick. And the one that I wish would happen, my for your consideration, is Tiffany Haddish. Problem, nobody's talking about her anymore. And that is so sad.
Yeah, it is. But watch, hang on, wait, I can guarantee you I know someone who will be talking about her on Tuesday. Jada Pinkett Smith will definitely be tweeting about her on Tuesday, saying it's an outrage she wasn't nominated. It's an absolute outrage.
Boy, and this just got dated.
Anyway, the other one that I do just want to mention, I hope to God she isn't nominated because I didn't think she was good at all. Like it was an okay performance. It was entertaining. I just hate the movie. Is Hong Cho from Downsizing. Oh my God, I hated that film. Oh, but I do not have that anywhere on my list.
Because people don't like the film.
I know, but she's not that good in it's an annoying character. It's an interesting.
She's the Kelly Marie Tran of the film.
Yeah, like it's an interesting. It's a. Oh God, I'm gonna sound.
I'm kidding. Actually,
I'm gonna sound absolutely awful in saying this. Like, I loved the idea of the character. I think she plays the character really, really well. I just don't like the character, and she annoys me. And I was just like, okay. I think by that point, because she doesn't turn up until about halfway through the movie, and I'm already over the movie, it's kind of like, all right. Yeah, no, I'm sick of this. So I just hope she doesn't get nominated for it. I'm just because I didn't like the movie. Just a way to bring the mood down. Let's go talk about one of the category this year that I'm actually probably looking forward to the most. And that is Best Original Screenplay. I think there are some incredible screenplays that came out this year in Best Original. My 2 locks are Get Out and Lady Bird. Guaranteed locks. I think these 2 are going to be nominated. I will be shocked if they are not. I would probably even put 3 Billboards up as a lock. There is something about 3 Billboards that just has me off. That just has me like I'm I'm not completely certain that it's going to get the adoration and love that being a Best Picture lock commands. There is something about Three Billboards that's just irking me. So I'm going a gut feel. I've got it as a most likely. Big Sick I have as a most likely. My on the cusp is The Shape of Water. Just based on things that I have heard that I haven't seen Shape of Water yet. Was going to see it last night, but things happened. I'm seeing it sometime this week, and from everything I've heard, the screenplay isn't the strongest part of the film. It's the directing, and it's the directing and the acting's the strongest part of the film. The screenplay is not so much. So it might get a nomination, but I'm not 100. That's why I'm putting it on the cusp. But for your consideration, no one in a million years is talking about this. No, it will not be nominated. I really wish it was, because I adored the screenplay, and I think it had one of the most beautiful, heartwarming screenplay, and that is Coco. I really would love to see, and it's happened before. A lot of Pixar films have been nominated for best screenplay, and Coco to me is. I wish Coco. For some reason, it just didn't hit the way that, or I don't know why, but it has not hit the awards circuit as much as some of other Pixar films. And I think it is and I think it probably should have more than some other Pixar films. So I'm shocked that Coco isn't being talked about more in these other conversations. But for me, Coco should be nominated for a Best Original Screenplay. Manning?
For Best Original Screenplay, I actually do have, first off, these are my locks that I have right now, which is basically Three Billboards, Lady Bird, and Get Out. With the momentum Three Billboards currently has, I think it's still going to remain a lock. It's going to get in there. And actually what I have is most likely, because I think this is where it's going to get its love, it's The Big Sick outside of Holly Hunter, and then The Shape of Water. Shape of Water is shaky because of... Again, you don't hear people saying, oh, that screenplay or that script was fantastic. You don't hear that at all. But the reason I think it's going to get that is because it has the clout behind it and it has the votes. Because I feel like if it has a chance to win Best Picture, it's definitely going to have some love in the screenplay. Plus, this is your WGA 5 for original. So I think this is where it's going to... we're going to see some crossover there. But also... what I actually want to shout out for Best Original Screenplay, in particular this year, is Wind River. Wind River, to me, has one of the best scripts about a topic I've never even knew existed, because we were so, I guess, isolated from the Native American reserves, from the Native American lands that are there. You don't know what goes on there. And seeing the little bit of insight we get through Jeremy Renner's character and through the character also of Lewis Olson, and seeing how they view it was expertly done, and I wish more people could have seen it. There is my Wind River mention, because, each one of us has to mention it, apparently, for our considerations.
We all had to get one in. So, Chris, what have you got for Best Original Screenplay?
I actually have... Believe it or not, I have 4 locks for Best Original Screenplay. Get Out, Three Billboards Outside of Missouri, Lady Bird, and The Shape of Water, with literally one that's just kind of a outside chance that probably is going to sneak in there is I, Tonya. And then the one that I really wish, my for your consideration, Manning stole it, of course, Wind River.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to adapted screenplay. My Manning, I'm going to start with you actually for this one.
Remember how we said original screenplay was doing really well and it was like amazing, and there's so many great options to choose from? Adapted screenplay, not as good this year as years prior. But my 2 locks that I have are 2 films that have basically gotten almost everything you need. They have been constantly praised. They've been in BAFTA. They've been in WGA. They've been in the USC Scripter. It's Disaster Artist and Call Me By Your Name. If they're going to give Disaster Artist anything and Call Me By Your Name anything at all, I think, besides Timothée Chalamet, I think this is where they're going to give the praise to them, because these the two have always been, just because how weak the category is, just how much clout is behind these two films. I think this is where they're going to happen. But also what I have the most likely, just because how barren this year is, I actually know it. Two most likely, the one's on the cusp, but the two that I have most likely are Mudbound and Molly's Game. Aaron Sorkin, you can't bet against him, and Mudbound, I think this will be the first step into Netflix starting to become a real threat into the Oscar race, because this is the first time a Netflix screenplay will actually, I think, get an adapted screenplay nomination. And I feel like this is where they're going to award Mudbound with a nomination. But the one that I have, it's gotten both USC Scripter and WGA, which are big indicators, and that is Logan, for my On the Cusp. It has gotten both of those, and this is basically I'm going out on a limb. Did BAFTA go for it? Nope. But if there's any chance for it to happen, I feel like this is where it could happen, because there is so much backing behind this movie, and I feel like it could be the first to break the stigma about superhero films. But I'm not confident.
Fair enough. Chris, you seemed excited about that one. Go ahead.
Damn right.
He does.
Because, okay, my two locks, Call Me By Your Name, and The Disaster Artist. And I have two on the cusps, one of them being Molly's Game. The other one, Logan, baby. Woo-hoo! And then my outside chance, which I'm pretty sure is going to sneak in no matter what, is Mudbound. Welcome, Manning. And my for your consideration, though.
Thank you.
And now this one's for me. My for your consideration is Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi. Oh my God, this might be quite possibly the best Star Wars script of all time, and it's not going to get a single ounce of love because too many fanboys are being too complaining about it. I know that's not the real reason why. Genre film, yeah, that's the real reason why. But oh well.
And speaking of genre film, I forgot to do my for my consideration, and I have to say, and then we'll move on. It screenplay is fantastic. I think it's probably one of the best adapted screenplays of the year. That is all. Continue.
I did not even think of it. Man, that would have been, oh, yes.
Nice job, Jacob.
God
nice
damn
job.
it, I want that now. Oh, well. Okay. Last Jedi, get rid of an entire subplot and maybe it gets nominated. I'm kind of like, to me, the screenplay isn't the tightest. There is a lot of issues in the screenplay that for me make it like it has an incredible main thread. Absolutely incredible. It has some of the most gripping and thought-provoking Star Wars we have ever seen in the history of Star Wars.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, now Jacob, you don't have to provide a counter argument because we can just say that for an episode of Nights of the Podcast.
Yeah, I know. I just don't see Last Jedi being nominated just because of to me, my locks is Call Me By Your Name. I think is the only lock you can really give at the moment. Disaster. The controversy, the allegations around it.
How does that apply to the screenplay?
He wrote the thing. Well, he didn't, but he helped write the thing, and because he's become the
helped get it off the ground.
The movie. He's become the face of the movie, and that does affect it. Now, look, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not putting it as a lock. I think it's a most likely. I'm putting it as a damn near lock. I'm just not ready to say it's an absolute guaranteed lock. I think I
swear, if it misses, and I'm just gonna see Jacob rub it in our faces, like I told you guys, it wasn't a lock. I told you.
So I've got Molly's Game and The Disaster Artist is most likely. My on the cusp, however, is Wanda and Victor and Abdul. I think Wanda. I think I wouldn't be shocked if they give Wanda some love because it came out it hit right when the nominations were starting, and I think the fact that the love and the support that it was getting, I really think that there is a chance that Wanda does get nominated. Victor and Abdul I think it was between that and Mudbound, and I kind of went, all right, I'm going to give it to this because of the Netflix thing. And as stupid as that sounds, I want the Academy to prove me wrong, but they haven't yet. And until they do, that's going to be my pick. That's going to be my, I don't trust you yet. So that's how I'm. Yeah. All right. My for your consideration is also Blade Runner 2049. Manning was right. This was a really, really weak year for screenplays, for adapted screenplays. And Blade Runner 2049 doesn't have the greatest script in the world, but it's, it was Blade Runner. I want Blade Runner to get more love. So I was like, can you give it at least one of the big five? And it's not going to get one of the big five. So
it's a good script. It's not like amazing.
Exactly. Let's move on to arguably, I think the one of the night that if you put a gun to my head and said you have to pick a winner, this is the one that I would pick the winner of, and that is Best Animated Feature. My my two guaranteed locks are Coco and The Breadwinner. My most likely is Loving Vincent. On the cusp, I've got the Lego Batman movie and Mary and the Witch's Flower. I think there is a chance that these get nominated. Mary and the Witch's Flower I think there is a chance that this gets nominated. This was a terrible year for animated films. Like, legit was an awful year other than Coco and a few little bright spots. This was horrendous. And I think that there is a very real chance. There is a very real chance that the Academy could renege on their rule of we will allow 5, that they might just go this year we're doing 3 because that was all that was nominated. There is a very real chance that could happen. So I wouldn't be surprised, but that's my 5. My for your consideration will make Evan happy, and that is Captain Underpants. Again, it was a really, really weak year in animation, and that was my for your consideration. Chris, let's go to you.
Okay, yeah, this was. I hope 2018 can please turn the year around on animation, because as an animation fan, this year hurt. There's only 3 locks, and those are pretty much the only good animated films of the year that I've seen. I haven't seen Captain Underpants, but I no interest. Coco, The Breadwinner, and Loving Vincent are my 3 locks. And my next 2, I literally just was like, okay, what do I want to throw against the wall, see what sticks? Boss Baby and Lego Batman. Sure. Okay. That's my 5. Move on.
Exactly.
I just want to put this damn year behind me, because I'm sorry, 2016 was one of the best years for animated films in recent memory. And then we had this crap fest where literally you have only one animated film that I actually wanted to see, and I absolutely adored it. I haven't seen Breadwinner yet, and I haven't seen Loving Vincent, but Coco, it's gonna win, and it should, because it's amazing.
Manning?
Basically, it's gonna be akin to a lot of what you guys have. It's locks I have is Coco. This is basically signed, sealed, and delivered. Then highly likely we have Loving Vincent and The Breadwinner. On the cusp, I would say, because right now those last spots are kind of just vying for attention. The Lego Batman movie, I'm still scared considering the big Lego movie snub last 2014. That was a dark day indeed. So I'm still worried for the Lego Batman, but then, it's still possible. And then we also have, I think, Ferdinand. They have been marketing that movie to no end. I cannot like go to a website and not see something, or turn a channel and not see something related to Ferdinand. I feel like, and considering it's been getting decent-ish reviews, at least from the people that I'm aware of or follow, as well as some awards love, depending on where you look, I feel like it's going to get there. And, Mary the Witch's Flower, I literally just took that out because I feel like not enough people will have been able to see it before in time, because literally it's going to come to where I am, like, I think in a couple of weeks, because, Regal will have that poster up, but I don't know exactly when. And I don't have it for consideration because this year was crap.
Yeah, I put that in there because I knew Evan would yell at me if none of us mentioned Captain Underpants. So I felt, okay, I'll put Captain Underpants on there somewhere. All right, let's move on. Okay, so the ordering that we've got here, I've got best cinematography next. So are we? So that's how where I'm going to go to next.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that one.
Just let me know.
Yeah. So best cinematography I've got next. Okay, I've got 2 locks, and that is The Shape of Water and Blade Runner 2049. My most likely is Dunkirk and Darkest Hour, and on the cusp is 3 Billboards. I genuinely am starting to think there is a chance that Shape of Water will win and Blade Runner is going to miss out again.
Stop. Don't, Jacob, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you guys dare.
It's happening.
You are speaking into Father Roger Deakins. How dare you disgrace his name with this?
I think he's gonna miss out again. I actually think he's gonna miss out again, and it's
Father Deakins is so disappointed in you.
It's just gonna be one of those like, how, like, because everything's going so far to Shape of Water, and it looks as though like Shape of Water might win this. I think, especially considering Blade Runner has just started to really drop off. If Blade Runner had made money and made a bit of money, and Warner Brothers were willing to spend the money to put a campaign behind it, I think there is a chance. But they're not. They're not putting a campaign behind this movie, and they are not like really spending the money, whereas in Shape of Water is getting the money spent on it. So I think Shape of Water is going to win best cinematography this year. Manning, how much have I just oh, sorry. My big for your consideration. I do have to mention this. All right. The cinematography for this film is incredible. No one is going to talk about it. No one is ever going to bring it up because, you know, it's stupid. But Greatest Showman had incredible cinematography. Like, I thought the cinematography in Greatest Showman was awesome. And so no one's going to talk about it. It's never going to get nominated in a million years. I just think there's a lot of technical awards that I would love to give to Greatest Showman that it's just not going to get. But Manning, what are your thoughts? What are your 5?
Well, first off, I am disappointed in you doubting Roger Deakins, like everyone probably will again, because this is like his 13th nomination. How many has he been nominated for and not won?
I think
it's sad.
It will be his 14th.
It is sad if he does not win. I will literally put my foot into my mouth if he does not win. Okay, that's how certain I am. It will not be a metaphor. It will be a literal event. Because I cannot see Roger Deakins not win this, because he has so far gotten the most critical wins. It's The Shape of Water, but right now, to me, it's a lock. It's Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, and The Shape of Water right now. Those are the people I'm going to be considering lock. You're going to be seeing those nomination day. And Darkest Hour as well, and then I also have Mudbound being on the cusp, because that has also gotten nearly everything needed as well, including, oh shoot, what's the, but what is the cinematography guild called?
Oh God, no idea. I should know this. American Society of Cinematographers. I think so.
Sure, we'll go with that. We'll go with that, because literally this is the 5. This is the 5 right now that I have, and I think these are also an incredible 5, and I will not be upset about any of these making it in, because they're just so great. And I feel like if they are going to give the narrative be also behind Mudbound, being able to reach it as well, I think would also be great. Is it going to miss? Maybe, but I'm holding out hope. But also, for your consideration, the cinematography of All the Money in the World is phenomenal. It's really, really good. Ridley Scott knows how to light a movie. His lighting is usually exquisite, and he proves that with All the Money in the World. How it just looks, how it makes you feel whenever you're maybe in Italy, in comparison to the stuffiness of the Getty Mansion. It's great. It's wonderful cinematography. Wish more people were talking about it, but oh well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I would have been so curious to see if that movie actually got the release that it deserved.
Yeah.
And that Christopher Plummer was cast from day one. I'd love to just know like an alternate history of what happened at the Oscars that year. All right, Chris, where are you going with cinematography?
Give me Father Deacons, for I have sinned.
No!
Hold on,
Okay.
because Blade Runner is a
holding.
lock.
Hmm.
Blade Runner is an absolute lock. Shape of Water is an absolute lock. Dunkirk is an absolute lock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I wish that, you know, the cinematography in this year was absolute crap from all around, just so that way Roger Deakins could just get it for once. I don't know if that's going to happen come March 4th. We'll find out. And rounding out on the cusp, I've got Darkest Hour and 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. But my for your consideration, and of course, this is the one element of this film that nobody's freaking talking about, Lady Bird. There's a reason this was my unofficial number one, folks. There's a reason it was my unofficial number one, because this movie was absolutely perfect in every sense of the word. The soundtrack, perfect. The acting, perfect. Directing, perfect. Screenplay, perfect. Cinematography, oh my god. I thought I actually was in 2002. And that's a pretty big accomplishment in my book. So, but of course, that's not the part of the film that everyone's talking about, so oh well. What can you do?
Yeah, it will be interesting, but let's move on to best production design. So we've got Manning. I'm going to start with you. What have you got?
Right now, what I have for best production, it's basically sweeping the text. The lock I have right now is The Shape of Water. It's very period oriented, and it has a lot of science fiction. It correlates a lot, usually well, with a lot of below the line tech stuff. So lock, Shape of Water. Most likely, I also have Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, and Beauty and the Beast, because a lot of those are very showy, and they have production design that I feel like, will gravitate toward it. And it's also very good production design. Say what you will about Beauty and the Beast, the production design I thought was very excellent. And also for what I have, but really, this fifth spot to me is tricky, but I have Phantom Thread, because Phantom Thread I feel like has an outside chance. Well, I don't know if it's in here, but we shall see.
All right, Chris, what have you got?
For production design, I've got Shape of Water, Blade Runner 2049, and Dunkirk as my locks. With Darkest Hour and, funny enough, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, as my two that might sneak in there. Just might. Especially with a lot of the big grand sets that you see, like Snoke's throne room, or seeing the Skellig Island and how it was used to its full effect.
Porgs.
Hey, you know what? Well, as part of the production design, they were amazing.
I know.
Say what you will about what they were in the film. That's fine. But, and plus, by the way, guys, just want to make this perfectly clear, they taste amazing.
Yum. Porg.
But my for consideration is Wonder Woman, because the way that they set up the look of World War I, especially out on the battlefield and in that little town that they save halfway through the film. Oh my god! I honestly, God, felt like I was actually in 1918 in whatever the hell part of France they were in. Or yeah, France, right. There we go. Yes. I've seen this movie twice, okay? People, back off. But like, it was so perfectly set up the way that they captured the look and the feel of 1918 World War One, and I wish the Academy would show it a little credit, and I just don't think it's gonna. So
Well, at the moment, I've got a lock on The Shape of Water and Blade Runner 2049. I think you're going to hear us say those two movies a lot in technical awards.
Yeah.
Just because I think those two are going to be the technical award fights. If the night starts where we start hearing Shape of Water every 30 seconds, if you don't like Shape of Water, it could be a very long night for you. And because I think if Blade Runner starts winning a lot of those ones, it could set it up for a very interesting battle. But if Shape of Water wins this, I think it's going to be a sweep and it's going to be a runoff and it's going to be a very long night. My most likely will be Dunkirk and Beauty and the Beast. I think those two are not. I think those for production design are very most likely going to. The production of Beauty and the Beast is absolutely insane. My last production design is again Greatest Showman. The sets, the way that they build that, production design for me is I'm taking everything that they do in the movie and use in the movie and the way that they are able to create these sets and these design and the look and feel. Greatest Showman to me does deserve a nomination here, and I think it will. I think it's an on the cusp for me personally. I'm going to move on to best costume design. Would it be weird if a movie about designing dresses doesn't get nominated for best costume designs?
That'd be amazing, though.
It'd be very weird. So my lock is Phantom Thread. My other lock is obviously Beauty and the Beast. I think the say what you will about the movie. I think it's an enjoyable film. I think it was a fun, enjoyable film. That movie gets nominated on Belle's Dress alone. You designed Belle's Dress and you gave it real life, and you got it pretty damn close to the animated film. Okay, you get it based on that alone, I think. But also, I would be shocked if they don't give costume design to Beauty and the Beast. Shape of Water, I do think is a most likely, because there is the showy costumes, but then there's also the restraint in costumes, and I think having the restraint in the Shape of Water costumes is very, very important. And I think you have a look at those costumes, and it's very, very much of the era, and it works very well.
When the clothes are on, anyway.
Yeah, well, that's a different story. My other most likely is Murder on the Orient Express. I think this is the only Oscar nomination it's going to get for the entire weekend, for the entire show, and I do think that is where it's going to go, just because this is its nomination. My last on the cusp, I was flip-flopping between this and The Post. I thought The Post did the 70s very well, but I think this is a very much deserved nomination, and that is for Wonder Woman. The costumes of Wonder Woman make that movie. Not make it, but the costumes of that film is very well and very important, and I think this could be one of the honorary nominations that the film gets. Yes. Chris, we'll go to you.
Absolutely. I actually, it's funny you say it though, because now that I realize, I'm like, oh shit, but I completely forgot to actually put in. Here, you want 1 second while I quick add Wonder Woman to the for your consideration. There we go. Much better. Now, but because my other 5, my locks are Phantom Thread, go figure, and Beauty and the Beast, go figure. But my 2 following that on the cusp are The Shape of Water and Murder on the Orient Express. And my 5th, which is the outside chance for me, is The Greatest Showman. Because as conflicted as I still am about that film, I can't deny those costumes look incredible. I mean, just take a look at any time that Michelle Williams walks through a door. I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Or even something as simple as Hugh / Zach's ringmaster outfit. It's like, oh my God, that's the simplicity, but how elegant it looks. Yeah.
All right, Manning, where are you landing on this?
It's not too. I'm not departing too much from it, but what I have for best costume design is, of course, the lock of Phantom Thread, because I still think that one is going to win unless there is some Beauty and the Beast magic that starts to twinkle away. But I think that's what's going to happen. Most likely you have Shape of Water and Beauty and the Beast. And on the cusp right now I have, because the Costume Designer Guild that came out recently as well, the guilds, they have different contemporary and they have period. They have all those different options. One of the ones I saw for contemporary they went for, as well as the BAFTA, is I, Tonya. Now, what they have specifically for I, Tonya is the dresses that you see, or the outfits, more specifically, for the skating. And I feel like while it is a contemporary choice, I feel like they might go that, because that is also showy in a way. And of course, also we have, for the 5th, I'm going to go with Chris, is also on the cusp, The Greatest Showman, because those are also very flashy and very showy. And we all know most equals best for the Oscars. But in this case, those are really good, so I can't quarrel with that too much.
Yeah, I do see where you're coming with that. I had Greatest Showman like as a for your consideration. I do think there is a chance though. Moving on, let's do best film editing. Chris, I am shocked how low you have one of your films.
Well, just because let me explain myself. So Dunkirk and Shape of Water are my 2 locks. Go figure. On the cusp is 3 billboards, and the only reason for that is if you go to a lot of sites that are predicting editing, 3 billboards is a lot of their number ones, and I disagree with it being that high, but I think it's a fair push for it. But my outside chance are Get Out and Baby Driver. Because what do I personally think is the best edited film of the year? Baby Driver, easily. But nobody else is talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but they're not freaking talking about it, and it's making me mad. But all I know is that there's a very solid chance it will get in there, as it should. And my for your consideration is Blade Runner 2049. Because... you want to something? Manning was onto something where he said it was one of the best edited films of the year. I don't know if I can quite go that far, but damn if it isn't in the conversation.
I don't know how you can call a 2.5 hour film best editing, but okay.
Well, okay.
No, I know. Okay, it's just for me. Like, I adored Blade Runner. Like, Blade Runner was my 3rd favorite film last year. Like, I absolutely ate that movie up and adored it. But I don't think. If you say best editing to someone, I don't exactly think they're going to go, oh, Blade Runner had incredible editing. Whereas for me, my lock is The Shape of Water and Baby Driver. I do think Baby Driver is going to be nominated. I think it's going to I think there is a lowball chance that it could win over Shape of Water. I think because if Baby Driver is going to get anything, it is for editing. And there maybe sound mixing and editing, but I think that to me it is a guaranteed lock for film editing. I don't see how it doesn't get nominated, and it is getting nominations in around. The problem is the Globes don't do editing, so we didn't see the Globes get it. It's been nominated for editing and sound at the BAFTAs. It's been and most of the critics and awards have been giving it some love. So I think there is a chance.
It has the most.
Yeah, most likely I've got Dunkirk and 3 billboards. My on the cusp is Get Out. And I think that that's what the 5 is going to look at. Manning, what have you got?
Well, again, you're slandering the great, amazing Joe Walker, who edited Blade Runner 2049. Which, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, still an amazing edited movie. Cough, cough. Long does not equal bad. But anyway, that aside, that's not an argument for this. What this is, I still think, for what lock, and I think your eventual winner, you have Dunkirk. And then a lock behind that, Shape of Water, nipping at its heels, depending on how big the Academy goes for this. And of course, Baby Driver, while I don't see it winning because there has never been a best editing winner because that correlates way too much with best picture. I can't see Baby Driver just getting film editing and maybe a sound and taking film editing. It would be unprecedented. So if that happens and you call that, Jacob, I will put my second foot in my mouth, because that would be quite impressive. But anyway, I also have Get Out at 4, and I still think Blade Runner 2049, because of how much tech it's getting, it's also gotten all what it needs for film editing. It has gotten literally everything it has needed up until this point, including the BAFTAs that recently just had, and the Ace Eddies, and critics nominations as well too. But because it is super long, that is a detriment to it. But in 3 Billboards, because it is the front runner right now, quote unquote, it could come in for film editing. But right now, those are the 5 that I have on the cusp. And of course, for best film editing, one of the things that I also want is the editing of It. I mentioned that prior. How they make that movie flow and how they make it so seamless and make someone like myself. There's a formula they follow with that, and the way they set it up and they manage to portray the horrors in that film for someone who doesn't like horror all that much is something completely and wonderfully excellent.
I do just want to say that the last time that a film that won Best Editing and also won and it wasn't nominated for Best Picture was Girl with the Dragon Tattoo in 2011. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. Ooh. It won over the Artist, The Descendants, Hugo, and Moneyball. So it's not outside the realm.
Although, what else was it? True, but what else was it nominated for as well? It was very close to getting a picture nomination. It had gotten PGA. It had gotten PGA that year.
Fair enough.
It was in the conversation more than Baby Driver. But again, true. Second foot will be in mouth as well if you get it, Jacob. So all right, you have that to look forward to.
Let's move on to Best Makeup. Now, Best Makeup only has 3 nominations. So, Manning, I'm going to start with you. What is your best makeup and hairstyling?
Still super weird why it's only 3. It could easily make it 5, but that escapes me. But anyway, right now it's a lock. Darkest Hour. What they managed to do with Gary Oldman and Winston Churchill. And then, of course, what I have right now on the cusp most likely is I, Tonya and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, because it was here last time. And, I guess it's going with familiar, what I would consider at least, because they do some of the same things, but it's also something familiar and something well done. Made the Bake Off list for and then I, Tonya, just because of the makeup as well with the costumes and outfits. That would correlate nicely with that. So, and for consideration, I would say, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, and for your consideration, makeup and hairstyling, what I don't think is going to happen, although it might, and God forbid if it does, because now we'll be saying David Ayer is a 2-time makeup and hairstyling nominee, but the makeup in Bright, specifically for Joel Edgerton, I thought is phenomenal. Say what you know about the movie, but what they managed to do with the makeup and hairstyling in that film, I think is quite excellent.
Yeah, I will agree to that. I mean, I thought Bright was horrific, but I do agree with that the makeup for Joel Edgerton was incredible. My 3, just because my lock is Darkest Hour. My most likely is I, Tonya. My on the cusp is Wonder. I think what they did with Wonder and the makeup they did on Wonder was absolutely incredible, and I wouldn't be shocked if that one is nominated. I can't bring myself to nominate Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for an Oscar, so I'm just going to move on from that. Chris, what are your 3?
My three are okay. So yes, I do have. I have my 3 official nominations. Thank you, Jacob. I actually am very well aware of that. My 3 are Darkest Hour, because come on, that's a lock. And my other lock is I, Tonya, but on the cusp is Wonder. But I do have 2 that I think could possibly switch between Wonder, but they're a little less likely than Wonder to fill in that 3rd spot. And those are Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Bright. And my 4th consideration is Logan. But, oh well.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Best Sound Mixing. Dohmen, I'm going to get you, because I get you to do it every year. Just explain what the difference between sound mixing and sound editing is for our listeners.
All right. So sound editing is essentially the creation of sound and putting it together into the film. In fact, once upon I really wish this category was actually called sound design, because that's more technically what it is. Sound mixing is taking all the sound that you hear in a film, whether it's the soundtrack, sound effects, dialogue, and you're blending it all together to have it be this beautiful, beautiful concoction that the average film going audience member can enjoy and not have their ears in utter pain the whole time.
Yeah, well, and very often what you will see is there's a very often there is a huge correlation between the two. Generally, there's maybe one or two films that is in mixing and not in editing, and the other way around. So generally, so we'll just start with best sound mixing. Personally, I've got Blade Runner 2049 and The Shape of Water as my locks, Dunkirk and Baby Driver as my most likely, and I've got Get Out as my on the cusp. Manning, what have you got?
Relatively similar. I feel like if anywhere Star Wars is going to show up, I feel like the sounds are where it's going to. So right now for my locks, I feel Shape of Water Driver is going to get a lock there too, because I feel like it's going to bring in something else besides film editing, and I feel like nomination wise, this is where it's on mixing, because that in that movie is mixed very well. But I think highly likely it's also Last Jedi and Blade Runner 2049, because the sound in that one, while familiar, as well as also expertly done. And of course, Dunkirk, I feel, is also another highly likely, because you're going to see stuff akin to that, usually making for sound mixing. Well done. The sound is better than the sound mixing in Interstellar. I will go ahead and say that. Because Lord knows I couldn't hear anything Michael Caine said.
Yep.
And that aside, what I also want to give for sound mixing, what I feel like is not going to get any recommendation for my consideration, it's War for the Planet of the Apes. War for the Planet of the Apes in sound mixing, that is a movie that you can literally hear every single breath Andy Serkis takes, which I sound like a Police song suddenly now. But War for the Planet of the Apes is a phenomenal film that I wish got more recognition. Is it as good as Dawn, in my opinion? No. Wonderful capstone to the trilogy. And I feel like the text is where it really shined, because outside of visual effects, I feel like sound is where it needs to be just as considered.
Chris, let's go to you.
So here's a slight problem, is that for sound mixing and editing, I have all 5 the exact same films. Because
it's possible. It's happened before. Like it's not like it hasn't ever happened.
It has happened.
It's happened several times, actually.
Yeah, it's happened a few times. And that's because from a sound perspective, and I'm saying this as a sound engineer myself, these are the 5 films that I genuinely believe are going to be the 5 nominees. My 2 locks are, of course, yours as well, Jacob. Actually, you know what? Here's the thing. My list is Manning's list for sound mixing, but in a slightly different order than he's got it. So my 2 locks, Blade Runner and Shape of Water. My on the cusp, or again, the one that I think is probably gonna get in there pretty easily, is Dunkirk. Then my outside chances are Baby Driver and Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi, and that is for both categories. So.
All right. Well, that's a good segue. So there, your 5. Just so just run through officially. Your sound editing is just those 5 again. Just run through them again.
My sound editing is the same as my sound mixing: Blade Runner, Shape of Water, Dunkirk, Baby Driver, and The Last Jedi. And hell to the yes, Manning, on War for the Planet of the Apes. Should get a little more love towards those categories, but I also think that these 5 films are just better edited and mixed from a sound perspective.
Yep.
All right, Manning, let's go. What's your mixing? I mean, editing. Sorry, what's your editing? We're done mixing.
Editing. Let's see. Oh well, considering the same boat as Dohmen because they're the exact same 5 for me too. I tried so very hard to try to find something that will fit, but every time I try to put something else in there, I keep going back to that same I had for sound mixing. So my sound editing is the exact same with maybe some shifting around on the most likely. That's likely I have Blade Runner 2049, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. None of these are locks save for Blade Runner 2049. I feel like editing wise, you could, and highly likely you have Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Shape of Water, Dunkirk, and also on the cusp, I feel like Baby Driver could or could not make it, but I'm always scared you're going to get a Transformers: The Last Night in there or something, because that movie has been, that series has always gotten, somehow nearly always gotten sound in some form, and that is what concerns me. But I'm holding out hope that Baby Driver's the one's going to get it, and yeah, it's kind of similar to sound mixing and all this anyway. Save for
I was
where the
about to say,
is.
as the one person on, as I'm assuming the only person on this panel who's seen it, Jacob, would it shock you, and would it be even remotely earned if Last Night did get a sound mixing or editing nomination?
All right, it's possible. It will annoy me because it will mean that one of these films doesn't. Like, okay, mixing, I can see it, but it would mean that Get Out gets knocked out. And sorry, the mixing in Get Out is like the way that they use sound in the.
Very true.
Yeah, like the way that they use sound in that movie is incredible, and I can see Last Night getting in there, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, you're gonna kick out a movie that I think deserves it, because look, Blade Runner, Shape of Water are guarantees. Dunkirk is a guarantee. Mixing, especially, I'm pretty much gonna guarantee Baby Driver, especially mixing. Mm-hmm. Whereas Get Out is my outlier, and if Last Night gets in there, I will be upset, because I think I would understand, and it wouldn't be like how the hell would you nominate that? I understand it, but I will be annoyed because Get Out had really incredible mixing, and I would be slightly annoyed about that. My editing, on the other hand, is those 4, but I took Get Out, and I put in Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman gets this nomination. I think Wonder Woman, this will also be another one of those. All right, here's the Wonder Woman nomination. It creates sound really, really well, especially on Themyscira, and I do think that this could be where it gets nominated. I think Last Jedi misses out on both of these this year. I don't know. I think it's a stacked year. I think it is a very, very stacked year for a lot of these films, and with Last Jedi having a later, like not being able to be seen earlier, it hurts it a lot. And I do think that this is, I think Last Jedi being a December film hurts it a little. So yeah, those are my mixing and editing. Let's move on to the award that is generally annoys a lot of people, and that is Best Visual Effects. And by annoys a lot of people, it's going to annoy a lot of people this year, because my 2 locks are Blade Runner 2049, War for the Planet of the Apes. My most likely is Shape of Water and Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and then my on the cusp is Dunkirk. I think there is a very real chance that one of the best modern trilogies ever made will not win a single Academy Award. And I think Blade Runner walks away with this, or possibly Shape of Water. I don't think War for the Planet of the Apes is winning this one at all. Manning, thoughts?
I want to agree with you, or disagree with you, by the fact of War for the Planet of the Apes isn't going to win it, but it's going to get nominated. 2049 are basically locks to be nominated, so I basically agree with you in that regard. And if you want to add also most likely, I think Star Wars: The Last Jedi is a safe bet when it comes to this category. And of course, Shape of Water. But on the cusp, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That, I feel like if they're going to do a superhero movie, that's the superhero movie that they're going to go with. I can't see them going something like Okja, which visual effects to me are fantastic in that film. And I feel like overall, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is where they would go most likely.
Chris, where are you going with this, with visual effects?
I'm going exactly with you, Jacob. My locks are War for the Planet of the Apes and Blade Runner 2049, which is probably going to win. Ugh. And my on the cusp are Last Jedi, Dunkirk, and Shape of Water.
It sucks that we're like complaining that Blade Runner is going to win. It's just because we know that this is the only Oscar that War for the Planet of the Apes has a chance of winning, and it just means that none of this trilogy will win an Academy Award. It's just like, oh well. Anyway, let's talk about this is one of my favorite Oscars, one of my favorite awards every year that everyone kind of ignores, or not ignore everyone, but it's one that they don't give enough love to, and that is Best Original Score. I love Best Original Score. I think some years that it's the ones that they have picked have been sensational. Some years have been absolutely horrendous. But Manning, I'm going to go back to you. What are your 5 picks for Best Original Score?
I have Father John Williams shut out, so forgive me, Father Williams. That was I realized that today when I'm looking at it. I was like, oh wow, that's a thing, because I feel like overall these scores have been the ones people have been talking about a lot more than both The Post and Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I mean, you even heard about the discussion of Force Awakens, the score. The Last Jedi score has not been something people have been discussing or talking about. But I have, for my locks right now, I have Dunkirk and most likely Blade Runner 2049 and The Phantom Thread. And in the 5th spot, I will also throw in Darkest Hour, which is another phenomenal score, I might add. So I'd be super happy with that one. It's on the cusp, so it could, in theory, miss. But I have a hard time believing that it will miss completely, because it's also gotten a lot of things, including the BAFTA, which, of course, they love it. But I feel like that's any indication whatsoever, it's going to be something, because right now original music hasn't been given out tremendously just yet. And of course, for your consideration, the score, I totally didn't write one down. Give me 1 second. I need to think. Oh, duh. The score for Get Out. Again, the score for Get Out is one of the best modern horror scores I have ever witnessed, because their use of, they really subvert your ideas of what horror music can be. And the third act specifically, the use of music to turn the tension up with specific instruments, I feel was expertly done. And I feel like Get Out and just needs a little bit more recognition before all this took place. But Get Out to me is a phenomenal score.
Chris, where are you going with Best Original Score?
I'm not going to be in Father Williams's bad blood too much.
Oh boy.
Because for my lock, I do have The Shape of Water and Dunkirk, just because people haven't stopped talking about either one. And then on the cusp, I have Darkest Hour, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, because it took what I thought was just going to be a really stupid Americana kind of, folky sort of soundtrack, and it actually did something with it, which was very impressive. That was really awesome. And then, of course, The Post. When does John not get the nomination?
That's true. Yeah, I know. I'm just betting. I'm betting against him.
Yeah, see, I agree. I pretty much got the exact same list as Chris, except one film. So my 2 locks are The Shape of Water and Dunkirk. I think those 2 are locks. I think those are 2 of the ones that are going to get nominated, and I doubt they are going to be beaten. Most likely, I've got Phantom Thread. Everyone I've heard says that the Phantom Thread score is sensational and incredible. My other most likely is 3 Billboards, and then my on the cusp is The Post. This could very, very easily be replaced with Darkest Hour. I could very easily see that happen. I think The Post is one of John Williams' I think modern scores, I think it's one of the best he has done. There is just something that helps the pacing of that film with the score, and it just really, really helps it. And that's what I think works really well with this score. And I can say I highly doubt he'll be nominated for Last Jedi over The Post. I think The Post will be the one that he does. If he is nominated this year, it will definitely be for The Post. For your consideration, the one that I would love to see them nominate, they won't in a million years, is Blade Runner 2049. The score in Blade Runner 2049 I just listen to that score now and I just feel like it, because it is just, I'll be in the car and I'll just be listening to it just because I just adore that music so much, and it really works really well with the tying back into the original. And oh man, I love that score so much, and I doubt it's going to get nominated, which sucks. But let's move on to, funny enough, I think this is going to be one of the most contested awards that we discuss here on And the winner is today, best original song. Chris, I'm going to start with you. Let's go with you.
Okay, no. Look, there's going to be a lot of competition here, but there's only one winner. We all know what the winner is. It's Remember Me. Done right now. Fine. Anyway, that's my first lock. My other lock is Mighty River from Mudbound. You're welcome, Manning.
Every time Mudbound's gonna be mentioned now, people's gonna be like, "You're welcome, Manning," and I'm just gonna be like conditioned to be like, "Thank you."
All right.
It's like thank you.
Then we have for my On the Cusp, Stand Up for Something from Marshall. Then my last two, which are the outside chance, are Evermore from Beauty and the Beast and This Is Shit from The Greatest Showman. I'm sorry.
Wait, what song's that?
Right.
What version were you watching?
That explains it. That explains why he didn't get into the movie.
The more realistic.
You saw the bootleg. You saw the bootleg version. It's okay.
But my for your consideration though is actually from The Greatest Showman, and it's definitely not This Is Me, because that song is boring, pretentious, and dull. No, give me the song that's got some live to it, that's got a little bit of oomph. It's a little upbeat in the verses, and sure, it's got a big resounding chorus, but the whole time I'm just thinking, damn, Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron look really good in their choreography while they're singing this pretty fun song called The Other Side.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so as Manning and I are probably the two biggest supporters of Greatest Showman within Take Three. I think we were the two who adored this movie the most. It is a terrible film, but it is so much fun. It's just like
I'm just gonna be
I just was smiling ear to ear the entire movie. I'm just like, the acting's okay, the story is horrendous, but it's just so much fun. But my lock is Remember Me from Coco. I will be shocked if this song is not nominated. Like, it would, this would be the snub of the Oscars. Like, and I don't think it's gonna win.
I'm listening to it right now.
I don't think it's gonna win, but I will be shocked if it's not nominated at least. My other lock, I'm sorry, this is a lock. It is happening. This Is Me is getting nominated for Best Original Song. It's happening. It will be nominated. My most likely is Stand Up for Something from Marshall. And I think on the cusp, I've got Prayers for This World from Cries from Syria. My other on the cusp, I think, is Rewrite the Stars from Greatest Showman. I do think that's the other one that's picking up steam. I know. God. Okay. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't want that one too, because the one that I want now, okay, this isn't the best song in the movie. It's actually probably one of the weaker songs in the movie, especially the way that they do it. But the one that I want nominated so badly, just because I want them to open the Oscars this way, is Greatest Show. I want them so badly to nominate Greatest Show, just because that's how you open the Oscars. But that's how you open the
It's-
Oscars. Like if you open the Oscars with The Greatest Show, I mean, you could do it with This Is Me, like just as easy. You could do it. I mean, it would be a little self-serving, and it would like, it would
Yeah.
hey, they opened the
Just a
show.
little.
This Is Me. Okay, but I think like if they open the show with Greatest Show because it's nominated, I think would just be amazing. But Chris is right. The other side is the one that deserves to be nominated the most, and it's not going to happen. Manning, what are your 5?
Well, first off, just to show you guys how much I love The Greatest Showman, I had an argument with my girlfriend last night about the merits of the about the movie, and nearly prompted me to walk out. That's how much I love the movie, guys. Nearly broke a relationship because she hates it and I love it. It makes no sense. But anyway, This Is Me is getting nominated. Yeah, and remember, This Is Me and Remember Me are I just realized that are getting nominated. These are the two that I think are locks at this point, because The Greatest Showman just has kind of had this cultural zeitgeist. You either hate it or you love it, and there is going to be people that are going to be really decrying the fact of why is this nominated, and they're going to play it, and we're going to listen to it, and we're either going to turn the channel or we're going to just enjoy This Is Me, the overtly cheesy cliche This Is Me. But anyway, that aside, those are my 2 locks. What I have for likely is Mighty River. I was about to say, you're welcome, Manning. Wait, I'm Manning. That doesn't count. And then, of course, I have Evermore as well, too, because I feel like if they're going to give Beauty and the Beast anything more, that's what they're going to give them. And finally, I also have something. I'm gonna be honest. The original song to me is really up in the air because there really are no precursors to go by outside of like the Golden Globes, and even that's not reliable. So right now, what I have is The Mystery of Love, Call Me by Your Name, which I've heard great things. People who have seen the film, I have not seen it yet, but I've heard great things concerning that, and I feel like they're going to give it something else right there. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Marshall song got in as well too, because I've heard a lot about that.
I'm not sure. What? I'm literally throwing darts at the board right for those. I was just like,
exactly. But for your consideration from me, I will say A Million Dreams from
I Want a Million
Greatest Showman. That song, I will listen to that song, and I will be inspired to sit in my desk and do work, because that is how inspiring that song is. It is a call to arms, and I feel like I wish that was nominated over This Is Me, because I feel like that song is a lot more inspirational than This Is Me, because it just, overall better song.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
okay. Well, I'm going to go revive a dead joke.
Okay, have fun.
All right, let's move on to now this is a part of the show where personally I'm throwing a darts at a board and I've got no idea. So Manning, you seem to have some form of idea on best foreign language film, so I'm just going to give that one to you. Like what have you got for best foreign language film?
Okay, what I think, and I say I think is a lock, would probably be In the Fade. I'm only saying this right now is because so far it got the Golden Globe, and so far that is the one with the biggest name attached to it, and that is Diane Kruger. Because yes, Chris, I think you mentioned that the movie itself wasn't amazing, but her performance was magnanimous, or it really captured the audience's attention. I feel like because that one, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think everyone voting has seen all of these, and they're going to go like, oh, I know that one. Let me go watch that movie. So to be selective of what they see. And I feel like if anyone sees it, In the Fade's going to be the first one they're going to see. And I feel like that's safe for a nomination, a win, maybe. But with the Golden Globe win, I feel like that's going to get people at least to see it. And The Square, that has gotten like a lot. I forgot what awards, but I think it swept a whole bunch of awards in Europe. I forgot what it was. But that's been getting a lot of buzz. And A Fantastic Woman from Chile is also getting a lot of buzz. And right now I'm just kind of going off what have I heard? What foreign language films have I heard of is now where I'm getting into. And Foxtrot and Loveless right now are on the cusp, and I feel like those two from Israel and Russia respectively are the two that are going to happen, because Leviathan, which I believe was won 2 or so years ago, 3, I don't know how long it was, but people did Loveless, and I thought, you know what, why not give it to, I don't know. Right now you're just seeing me think out loud.
Chris, Did you throw darts at a board, or have you actually like put some thought into this one?
I put thoughts into two of my picks.
Exactly, right?
I know, right? One being In the Fade, yes. And the other being A Fantastic Woman. I also have Foxtrot, The Insult, and Loveless from Israel, Lebanon, and Russia, respectively. I honestly just did a little bit of research into what a lot of the best reviewed foreign films of last year were, and these were really what was out there. So it's like I'm pretty sure that this is, in my opinion, because all I have are locks. That's all I have are locks.
Yeah. I got no idea.
Yeah.
I just took the first 5 that I threw a dart at, and that was Foxtrot, Loveless, Fantastic Woman, In the Fade, and The Insult. I'm pretty and not to sound rude or harsh or anything, but I think we just got an insight into how the Academy vote when it comes to these couple of categories. So
Sadly.
Sadly, I think we kind of did. Anyway, let's move on to Best Animated Short. Chris, I'm going to start with you. Do you have any idea?
Oh boy, this is going to be a quick thing here because literally, I just copy and pasted what an Oscar prediction site said that it was going to win. Cradle, Deer Basketball, Fox and the Whale, In a Heartbeat, and Lou. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Manning, what about you? What have you got?
This was the famous I'm going to throw a dart at the board for me. Because right now, I think Heartbeat that pulled a lot of heartstrings and got a lot of clout behind it. I think that's definitely going to make it. Plus, it's the only one I've heard of this year. I think also that besides you have Cradle, Garden Party, Lou, and Deer Basketball, because I looked at sites linked in Gold Derby. So,
all right. I've got Lou, Deer Basketball, Cradle, In a Heartbeat, and Life Smartphone. I have never heard of any of these. I just looked at websites. Let's go to Best Documentary Feature, and then we will move on, and then we will do the last two and wrap this up. So, Best Documentary Feature. Look, I threw a dart. I've gone Jane, Faces, Places, Last Men in Aleppo, Long Strange Trip, and Aleppo, and Long Strange Trip and Strong Island. Manning, what do you got?
I have, in no particular order at this point, Long Strange Trip, the New York, or Long Strange Trip, Ex Libris, the New York Public Library, Last Men in Aleppo, Icarus, and then Jane.
Chris?
Apparently, I must be out of my mind then, because I have again just the old dart at the board. Jane, Faces, Places, Long Strange Trip, Icarus, and City of Ghosts.
Fair enough. Hey, look, stranger things have happened. Let's go down to Best Documentary Short. Seasons. This is literally the Oscar that everyone says if you want to win an Oscar, this is the best chance you have, because no one goes to it. So. I've got for Best Documentary Short, I've got Edith and Eddie, Heroine, Alone, Traffic Stop, and 116 Cameras. Chris?
For documentary short, I've got Edith and Eddie, Heroine, Knife Skills, Alone, and 116 Cameras.
Manning?
Yeah.
Hey, I have the exact same 5, except in a different order. It's Heroine, Edith plus Eddie, Alone, 116 Cameras, and then Knife Skills.
See, I've got Traffic Stop. That's my difference. I don't have Knife Skills.
Okay.
That's my difference.
Okay, I missed that.
Right. I think we all literally have Best Live Action Short, which I have never heard of any of these. We sound professional at the moment. I'm sure I'm sure that there are literally thousands of people waiting on Tuesday to be like, please let my live action short be nominated, and we're just shitting all over them. So I've got.
I know. I apologize. We apologize.
Yeah. All right. I've got Decalib Elementary, Facing Mecca, Lost Face, All of Us, and Witness. Manning.
I actually have Icebox and My Nephew Emmett, Lost Face, DeKalb Elementary, and all of us.
All right. Chris, what do you got?
So I guess I have a little bit of a different list then, because I have DeKalb Elementary, Facing Mecca, Lost Face, My Nephew Emmett, and all of us.
Well, guys, they are our nominations. Thank you so much for sitting through this and listening wherever you are. Please make sure you subscribe to Take 3 Productions on our YouTube channel at Take 3 Productions. Make sure you also go to our Facebook group at Take 3 Productions and just join it and be part of our film community where we discuss and do everything film related, and where we also discuss the Schmodown and everything there on Take 3 Productions. I want to thank my very special guest, Chris Dohmen. Where can the good people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at my band Last Shot Redemption at LSAR Band MN. You guys can follow Take 3 Productions on Twitter and Instagram at Take 3 Trivia. You guys can also find me right here on Take 3 hosting Nights of the Podcast, our bi-weekly Star Wars show. And you can find me on Letterboxd and Stardust at Chris Take 3. And you can also find me over on our sister channel, the Worldwide Movie Games Network, on YouTube and on Twitter at WWMGN Take 3.
And I'd like to also thank Manning for being here. Where can the good people find you online, Manning?
You guys can find me at Cine_Man, at CINE_MANN, as well as here at And the Winner Is, as well as the Reactor Summit and the upcoming Schmodown reactions, all here on Take 3.
And guys, you guys can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Jacob Blunden and on Letterboxd, where I do all my movie reviews. Guys, thank you so much for listening in. We will see you next week. The Oscar nominations drop this Tuesday, tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. our Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you are up watching them at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a very, very interesting list of nominations. I know we are going to have a ton to discuss next week when we talk all things Oscar nominations. We're just going to go through the entire list again. We will give our very, very early predictions before really getting back into regular scheduled programming and talking about the other awards and the other awards bodies, but leading up to the Oscars. But these 2 weeks are all just about the nominations. So we will see you back next week, where we will dissect and discuss absolutely everything inside these Oscar nominations. And until then, thank you so much for joining. My name is Jacob Blunden, and until next time, take care.